Jain children, welcome back to today's class. Previous class we have studied different types of chlorophyll pigments. Today we are continuing with that portion. And we have already studied photosynthesis consists of two main steps. They are light reaction and dark reaction. The different events that occurs in light reaction are absorption of sunlight by pigment molecule, water splitting, oxygen release, and formation of ATP and NADPH. Light reaction is otherwise called a photochemical reaction because it happens in the presence of sunlight. So light reaction is otherwise called a photochemical reaction. So these are the four events happening in light reaction, and in dark reaction carbon dioxide is reduced to carbohydrate or glucose. CO2 becomes C6H12O6. Next we can study the different steps coming under light reaction. Light reaction involves four different steps: absorption of sunlight, splitting up of water, release of oxygen, and also formation of ATP and NADPH. So the first process is absorption of sunlight. Who is absorbing sunlight? Yes, pigment molecules are absorbing sunlight. And these pigments are organized into discrete units called light harvesting complexes or photosystem. So the pigments are present in which form? Light harvesting complexes or photosystem. These light harvesting complexes are made of hundreds of pigment molecules which bound to proteins. When we are observing each photosystem, it consists of a reaction center that made up of chlorophyll A molecule, which is surrounded by different pigment molecules. They are collectively called antennae molecule. Here you can see the structure of a photosystem or light harvesting complex. Each light harvesting complex or photosystem consists of a reaction center. This reaction center is made up of by chlorophyll A molecule and which gets surrounded by antennae molecule. This antennae molecule will include chlorophyll A, B, carotenoids and xanthophyll. Antennae molecule will absorb the sunlight and it will convey the energy to reaction center. So all the antennae molecule will absorb and convey this energy to the reaction center. So when this energy comes to reaction center, it leads to the emission of an electron from this chlorophyll A molecule. So the energy which is released from or which is getting from different antennae molecule causes an electron from chlorophyll to become excited. Based on the reaction center, there are two types of pigment system, PS1 and PS2. In PS1, it consists of chlorophyll A molecule, but this molecule can absorb sunlight up to the wavelength 700 nanometer. So this is collectively called P700, photosystem 700, because this chlorophyll A molecule, the reaction center which consists of a chlorophyll A molecule, can absorb a wavelength of light up to 700 nanometer. In the case of PS2, it also consists of reaction center with the chlorophyll A molecule, but it can absorb wavelength of light only up to 680 nanometer. So if a wavelength of sunlight above 680 is coming, who become active? PS1 become active. So PS2 can absorb only up to 680 nanometer. So it's called a P680. And the second difference, PS1 is present both in grana thylakoid and stroma thylakoid. We have already mentioned thylakoid present in grana is called grana thylakoid, and the thylakoid which connects two adjacent grana, that is called a stroma thylakoid. So PS1 is present in both grana thylakoid and stroma thylakoid, but PS2 can be seen only in grana thylakoid because stroma lamella lack PS2. Then the next difference, PS1 involved in both the cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. We will study this process detail. So now just mind this point. PS1 involved in both cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. This is a type of energy formation. It occurs in cyclic way and a non-cyclic way. So PS1 can be seen in both the process, but PS2 only involved in non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Then next point or next difference between PS1 and PS2, it's not associated with the splitting up of water. Associated with the PS1, we can't see this process. Water splitting is not present along with the PS1. So splitting up of water is associated with the PS2. So these two portions we will study detail. Okay. Then comes the main event in light reaction, that is photophosphorylation. Light reaction is otherwise called photophosphorylation. There are 4 different steps or 4 processes are coming under photophosphorylation or light reaction. Absorption of sunlight, splitting up of water, formation of ATP, NADPH, release of oxygen. All these processes occurs simultaneously, not one by one. All these processes can be seen simultaneously, and the end product is energy, ATP or NADPH. So the light reaction is otherwise called the photophosphorylation because the main process which is happening here is formation of energy. And this process, phosphorylation, is called a formation of energy, and this occurs in the presence of sunlight. So this is called a photophosphorylation, and it is of 2 types. There are 2 ways photophosphorylation occurs. They are cyclic photophosphorylation and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. The word is indicating here the energy is formed in cyclic manner. Here energy is formed non-cyclic manner. In both the cases light is essential. So this is called photophosphorylation. Here this process occurs in a cyclic way. Here it occurs in a non-cyclic way. That is a difference. First we can study non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Why? And this PS1 and PS2 can be seen in where both in grana thylakoids, and grana thylakoids possess both PS1 and PS2. This is PS1 and this is PS2. So both this can be seen on where grana thylakoid. But in the case of a stroma thylakoid, it lacks PS2. So this is absent in stroma thylakoid. So grana thylakoid will possess both this pigment system. And P680 can absorb wavelength up to 680 nanometer, and here it can absorb up to 700 nanometer. Suppose a wavelength of sunlight 650 is coming, 650 is coming. We know that both of them can absorb, isn't it? Because it is having 680 nanometer can be absorbed here. Here 700 nanometer of light can be absorbed. Suppose a wavelength of light below 680 is coming. Both of them can be absorbed. But what is the specialty means here this pigment system, that means the pigment system 2 become excited first. So here we know that the sunlight is coming and it is entering to both the pigment system. But here who become active first? This pigment system, that is the pigment system 2. This is pigment system PS2 and this is PS1. So this pigment system get activated. As a result, what happens? How it become activated? Because here we know that here we can see the antennae molecules are here. It's not drawn here there. Antennae molecules can be seen. It will trap the sunlight and will pass to the reaction center. And what happens? Here the reaction center is getting more energy. As a result, one electron which is present from the chlorophyll A molecule become excited. And this moves upward. When it become excited, it moves upwards. So this from the reaction center, an electron molecule is excited by getting the energy. So this electron is accepted by an electron acceptor. This electron acceptor will receive this electron. And from this electron acceptor, again this electron will move down and will enter into an electron transport system. So from this reaction center, electron is jumping upward, accepted by an electron acceptor. Again it is moving downward and will enter into electron transport system. And from the electron transport system, again the electron will move down to where? Next pigment system, that is pigment system 1. At that time, that means when the electron is moving to this pigment system 1, one molecule of ATP is formed. Adenosine diphosphate will be combined with the one more phosphate to become adenosine triphosphate. ATP is released. And from this pigment system 1, now we can see the electron here. Pigment system 1 is also become excited because it is also getting energy from sunlight. So here the electron is again jumping upward, because here also the electron cannot remain there because energy is present here. So with the help of that energy, the same electron is again moving upward and is accepted by another electron acceptor. From this electron acceptor, this electron will move and enter to the formation of NADPH. NADP is reduced to NADPH. What is the full form of NADP? Nicotinamide adenosine dinucleotide phosphate. When it is get reduced, it becomes NADPH. So here the electron is moving in which manner? Non-cyclic manner. Isn't it? From here the electron is moving upward, again coming downward, enter into PS1, again moving upward. So here the electron is moving in non-cyclic manner. So this photophosphorylation is called a non-cyclic photophosphorylation, because the electron is not moving not coming back. So from here the electron is moving upward, again downward, again upward. So this movement is otherwise called Z ski. You can see like this one. Here you can see an Z, isn't it? So this scheme is called Z ski. Here you can see the Z. Moving upward, downward, again moving upward. So this manner is called Z ski. Clear? And how this electron, here we know that the electron is moving upward and not coming back. So a continuous supply of electron should be here associated with this pigment system 2. A continuous supply of electron is necessary, and that occurs with the help of splitting up of water. We know that one of the raw material in photosynthesis is water. So this water is splitting and releases 2 molecules of proton, 2 molecules of electron, and oxygen is also released, and that oxygen will be released as the end product of photosynthesis. And the remaining, here you can see the electron, that electron will enter into pigment system 2. So water will split it and the electron will enter into pigment system 2. So I have already mentioned, associated with the pigment system 2, we can see one process called as splitting up of water. So what is the importance of splitting up of water? For the continuous supply of electron to the pigment system 2, splitting up of water is essential. Clear? So this is non-cyclic photophosphorylation. So non-cyclic photophosphorylation, how it got the name? Because electron is moving in non-cyclic manner. And why it is associated with the photolysis of water? Because for the continuous supply of electron, waters have to be splitted. And what are the end product which is formed here? Here we know that one molecule of ATP is released and one molecule of NADPH are released. And where this occurs, non-cyclic photophosphorylation occurs on where? It can be seen on where? Grana thylakoid, not in stroma thylakoid, because in stroma thylakoid this pigment system 2 is absent. So in the case of grana thylakoid we can see this process. And one more chance is needed, because both the pigment systems are present in grana thylakoid. For moving or for occurring this non-cyclic manner, first of all P680 have to be excited. So of these two pigment system, P680 become excited first. Both these pigment systems are present in grana thylakoid. Of these two pigment systems, who become excited first? P680 become excited first, and that leads to non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Then comes cyclic photophosphorylation. Cyclic photophosphorylation, only one pigment system is associated, that is pigment system 1. So pigment system 1 can be seen only in stroma thylakoid. Stroma thylakoid possess Which one? Pigment system 1. So cyclic photophosphorylation occurs on where? Stroma thylakoid. And also one more chance is there. Here in pigments, in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, these two pigment systems of both the pigment systems are present, but here PS2 become excited first. Suppose in this grana thylakoid also, suppose a wavelength above 680 nanometer is coming. What happens? This P680 cannot be excited, isn't it? Suppose a wavelength, the 690 wavelength, the nanometer of sunlight is coming. What happens in this grana thylakoid? This pigment system cannot become excited because it can absorb only 680 nanometer. So who become excited? Automatically pigment system 1 become excited. So this non-cyclic photophosphorylation mainly occurs in where? Stroma thylakoid, and also this occurs in grana thylakoid when it occurs in grana thylakoid when if wavelength of sunlight above 680 nanometer is come, isn't it? So if 680 nanometer, if the wavelength of sunlight 680 nanometer, above 680 nanometer is coming, in grana thylakoid also, which type of phosphorylation occurs? Non-cyclic photophosphorylation occurs. So non-cyclic photophosphorylation occurs in where? Both in stroma and also in grana. In stroma thylakoid, because PS2 is absent, so there is, we can see only PS1, so cyclic photophosphorylation only occurs. But in grana thylakoid also this process occurs when if wavelength of sunlight above 680 nanometer is coming, automatically who become excited? P700 become excited. So what happens here? The antennae molecule will convert the energy or give the energy to the reaction center. As a result, the electron will excited and it is accepted by electron acceptor, and this from the electron acceptor the electrons move to an electron transport system, and through the system the electron will comes back to the same reaction center. Clear? So here the electron is moving in cyclic manner. So here the electron is excited by getting energy, accepted by an electron acceptor. From the electron acceptor it's moved to electron transport system, and through the electron transport system again the electron comes back to the reaction center or PS2. And when this electron traveling through the electron transport system, ADP, adenosine diphosphate, combines with the inorganic phosphate to become one molecule of ATP. So here energy is also produced. So why it is called a cyclic photophosphorylation? Because the electron is moving in cyclic manner. And here we can see the formation of only ATP, not ATP and NADPH. In non-cyclic we know that ATP and NADPH are produced, but here only ATP is produced. And here in which type of thylakoid this cyclic photophosphorylation occurs? In stroma thylakoid only cyclic photophosphorylation occurs, because in stroma thylakoid PS2 is absent. So there is only one chance, which one? Cyclic photophosphorylation. And in grana thylakoid also the cyclic photophosphorylation occurs when if wavelength of sunlight above 680 nanometer is coming, PS2 cannot become excited, so PS1 become excited. At that time the electron will move upward, electron acceptor is accepting, from the electron acceptor the electron is entering to electron transport system, through the system the electron will comes back. At that time one molecule of ATP is produced. So this is called a cyclic photophosphorylation. Here comes the difference between cyclic photophosphorylation and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. In cyclic photophosphorylation, the electron is moving in cyclic manner. Here it is occurs in non-cyclic manner. And this cyclic photophosphorylation occurs in both stroma and grana thylakoids or grana lamellae. Here occurs only in grana thylakoids. And here there is no splitting up of water can be seen, because the electron is moving in continuous manner, so there is no need for any electron supplier. But here electron is not moving in cyclic manner, so a continuous supplier is needed, and that is occurs with the help of splitting up of water. And here we know that PS1 is involved, PS2 is not involved here, because PS2 is absent in where the stromathylakoid. But here we know that both PS1 and PS2 are involved, and here we know that only ATP is produced, and we are here ATP and NADPH are produced. So these are the difference between cyclic photophosphorylation and the non-cyclic photophosphorylation.